Welcome. My name is Carolyn and I am a ghost healer. For the past 30 years I've been helping dead people, the ones caught in the space between this world and the next. I've documented many of the hauntings and I've often made drawings of the souls who I've helped. I'm now ready to share these stories with you. We all have a story, and these stories belong to the lost souls who I've helped on their way. Today I'd like to tell you a story about a ghost haunting part of Shepton Mallet Prison. Shepton Mallet Prison is in Somerset in England and first opened in the 17th century. But this particular part of the prison I'm going to talk about was a sort of new add-on to that and was built in 1790. Now, the gate lodge is quite cramped and quite small, and I made my way up through some tiny stone steps that you'll see are quite worn over time. And when I got into this room on top of the gate lodge, it was intense anyway, just walking up tiny stairs, and it's always cold. But I could see the ghost of this boy, and I'm not saying lad, I'm saying boy. And he sat on the floor and he's looking up at me and he sat on the floor. And I'm cold because it's cold there. And he says, "I'm so cold." And he would be between 8 and 9 years old. And, he was just sat there looking up. And I noticed that he had this waistcoat on. And, I know I like to look at fabrics, but this was particularly ornate. And it was something that wealthy people would have dressed in. It was very elaborate. But he was also wearing over an overshirt and sort of what I could see sort of trouser-like garment made of material that was for a poorer person. And, it was almost as if he could hear my thoughts. And he put his little hand up and he said, "Yeah, and it's got a pocket." And I got the sort of film of what was going on for him in my mind, and I could see a mother, and his mother was so proud of this waistcoat, and she said, "You wear that waistcoat." So she'd obviously made it for him. So it was something really special, and they valued it together, and she was really proud of him. But there were parents. There was a mother and a father, and I could see a brother and a sister, and they were a very Christian family, and they worked hard. They were very working class, and I don't know why he was in there. And he looks up at me and just says, "I'm cold." Again. And then I could see he was somehow swept up by, whether it was a marauding bunch of drunken disorderlies, you don't know, or whether there was some sort of uprising. But he was swept up and gathered into this area of the prison where lots of other people were sort of controlled, if you like, or I think the modern word is kettled into a small space. And this lad wasn't, no one said he hasn't done anything wrong. He knows he hasn't done anything wrong, but he was there and he was kept there, almost out of harm's way, I think. And then I could see two adults with him in my sort of psychic story mind. And the boy said to me, he said, "Yeah, they were talking a lot without stopping, and I didn't understand." So, they were obviously dealing, I think, with other staff, and they said, "Stay in here for a while." And I think there was no malicious intention for keeping him there, but, just for the kindness of keeping him out of harm's way, well, they probably sorted the marauding, whatever was going on. And the room was a place of safety. And I also got that, he said that he prayed for help and he just wanted his mum. And again, he looked up at me and said, "I'm really cold." And I got that the people who put him there had no idea that this shivering, this coldness was perhaps going to lead to his death. And they would have come up there and found this lad and, he had died. But no one probably knew or understood how sick he really was. So, yeah, I think it was very hard just standing there with him. But in a way, I felt being there was almost just being of comfort, just listening to him. And I think he knew he was going to get help, actually, at that point. So I made a space in that room, and I was able to move this lad on to the spirit world where he was free of all that anxiety and coldness. Sad story. Happy ending. Thanks for listening.